Oakland A's UK. Oakland A's UK. The Oakland A's UK. The Oakland A's UK.
Hello and welcome to Oakland A's UK. I'm Matt. Happy Memorial Day to all of you out in the States. And yes, we're back. We've been on hiatus for a couple of months, but hey, haven't we all? It's been a coronavirus lockdown for us all for a couple of months, but things are starting to open up again. Not exactly getting back to normal, but things are starting up again, and that includes baseball, hopefully fairly soon. So we're glad to be back here across all of our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube. You can look at the timing of the pandemic for baseball in a couple of ways. Although it was good in a sense because at least the season hadn't yet started, so we weren't stopping it as we've done in European football and the NBA and NHL. At the same time, we were so looking forward to the season. We were halfway through spring training, everything was looking good, and then whoosh, there we are, it stopped, and here we are at the end of May and the season still hasn't started. But there is finally some hope that baseball will be returning fairly soon. The coronavirus pandemic has swept across the globe and has done so at different stages, so different countries were at different periods in their response to it. But we've seen in some other areas that professional sports have started up. With baseball, we've seen the Taiwan League beginning and the South Korean League starting up. Looks like Japan, their baseball league is going to start in mid-June, so we're starting to see these lockdown rules being relaxed a little bit, albeit that these teams are all coming back and leagues are starting up without any fans being in the stands, but at least there's action coming. And the same can be said for Major League Baseball. Now, no plans are final as yet, it's still going on in terms of discussions, but we're starting to see the shape of what a 2020 MLB season may finally look like. The plan currently is for teams to start some sort of spring training 2.0 during June. Looks like it won't be the traditional spring training of half the teams going to Arizona, half going to Florida. Depend on where they are in the country, but it certainly looks like the A's are more likely to do spring training in the Bay Area. And may not be too many games involved, maybe just intra-squad games, but it will be a case of players just getting back into the routine and getting ready for the season as best they can. And the idea currently is for Major League Baseball to start up their regular season at the start of July, maybe around the 4th of July, that sort of time, and for there to be an 82-game regular season. It's going to be a different sort of competition as we're used to, because to reduce the amount of travel, the current idea is for teams in the West to play each other. So the A's would be playing a schedule against the 4 teams in the American League West and the 5 teams in the NL West. And then the same will take place in the 2 Central Leagues and the 2 East Leagues. So there won't be so much travel. So it'll be a bit different, but it will mean we get to play the Dodgers more, the Giants more. I think it'll be quite good fun for that part of the season. 82 games should be good. And then the plan would be for an expanded playoff, something like 12 or 14 teams. Now, we don't really know any details about how that's going to work currently, but it makes sense to me. There's no point in trying to sort of pick things up partway through and just having a normal season. It's never going to be a normal season, so let's plan it to make the best of what we've got. If we've got 82 games and we can have some playoffs, then just have a completely unique situation for this year to give us the best and kind of most fun and also safest baseball we can have this year, and then we can move on and hopefully be more back to normal in 2021. There are a few other changes for this year on the table too. The first thing would be a universal designated hitter rule, which makes sense bearing in mind it's going to be AL and NL teams all mixed together. We've heard a lot of talk, particularly in the last 3 or 4 years, of the National League potentially getting rid of the DH rule. So to me, that seems like something that probably will end up carrying on, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And we're also apparently going to have expanded rosters. So we were already looking at rosters expanding from 25 men to 26 for this year. The current idea is maybe to have a 30-man roster, just so that there's probably more pitchers on a roster. So because you're not going to have the proper full spring training start up to the season, you can have more pitchers on your roster to just cope with the load of the work, and also some sort of easier way to bring players from the minor leagues up to the major leagues and back down again, just again to make sure that it's not too big of a load on the pitcher's arms, and also to deal with the inevitable, which is that once people are going out and interacting with other people, you are going to get more positive tests for COVID-19, and those players are going to have to isolate, so you're going to have a way to manage that, which is going to be a bit easier for baseball teams than maybe something like European football teams, because you can dip down into the AAA roster and bring some players up. It won't be exactly the same as what we're used to, but I think every baseball fan and everyone who works in baseball just understands this is about doing the best we can for this year. It's not going to be normal, but it should still be good competition and a lot of fun to watch. So that's one thing that's going to change, and we'll see how teams kind of manage their rosters along those lines, because they'll have a bigger group of players to pick from potentially. But yeah, that all remains to be confirmed. So the discussions are ongoing between Major League Baseball and the Players Association, the Players Union. The big sticking point right now, as always, is money, because the owners are claiming that they're going to be losing money hand over fist, which probably will be true to some extent. Regional TV contracts, maybe wanting some money back, as is happening in the Premier League here in the UK, but of football. So some of that is genuine, but the owners aren't very keen on opening up their books. And unless you really know how much money they're going to lose out on, well, the Players Union has every right to be a bit suspicious as to the cuts that the owners want them to take. There is discussions back in March, and the Players Union really feel that they were told at that time that players would get a pro rata salary. So if you play for half a season, they'd get half their entitled salary. The owners now don't want to do that, and so they haven't got the money to do that, and therefore want a much reduced payment. So the idea is to have a 50-50 revenue split between the owners, the clubs and the players. The union do not agree with that, and that seems to be a big sticking point. However, what is clearly true is that you've currently got a bunch of billionaire owners and a bunch of millionaire baseball players. They know all too well that if it's possible to get back playing at this time amid the COVID-19 pandemic, and there's such a clamour for baseball fans around the world to see baseball coming back, they're not going to stop playing and not start up the season arguing over money. They know how bad that will make them all look. So I'm sure there will be some sort of compromise. It's just how long it takes to get that compromise. But it looks positive, at least for the moment, although there is no agreement as yet. But it looks positive that baseball will be starting up. The first draft of the kind of safety protocols lasted about 67 pages, so it was very detailed and very thorough. A lot more detailed and thorough than, again, what we've seen in Premier League football. I know the Players Union have a few queries about some of it, but actually that side of it all looks quite positive, and it looks like everyone is kind of happy, generally speaking, with what's being proposed. There'll need to be some tweaks along the way, but it will be as safe as it possibly could be, given all of the testing the players are going to go under and all of the social distancing measures that will be in place. So it doesn't look like that will be a blocker. Of course, it will be sad that fans will not be able to be in the stadium. That's inevitable. It's a compromise we have to make. Would you like no baseball at all, or baseball without fans? Well, it's not even a choice, is it? We want there to be baseball back, and hopefully if we can start seeing games coming through as case numbers of COVID-19 go down over the next couple of months, fingers crossed, maybe some fans will be able to come in to the stadium, even if it's a much lower volume of people and they have to space out. It won't be the same experience, but at least some fans would then be able to be in the stadium and making some noise, at least those that make noise. Anyway, of course, the A's fans out there, bleacher crew, would be making lots of noise, that's for sure, even if there are only 10 of them there. So hopefully some fans will be able to get out there later in the season, but at the end of the day, it's about everything being safe and having a return for baseball that can be done as safely as possible. And it does at last look like there are genuine good plans in place that are not yet there but should be there soon for baseball to return sometime from July onwards. As for us at A's UK, Hannah, Dom and myself, we had lots of plans for the 2020 season, and some of them just now are not going to be able to take place. We had such a good time last year at the London series in June, and we had a big A's UK meetup. The London series, of course, has been postponed this year, so hopefully it may take place next year, but we'll see. But that's kind of gone, unfortunately, for this year. We also had a big trip scheduled for August. The A's were going to play in New York, Washington and in Boston during mid-August, so we were all going to go out there, a whole bunch of us. I know some of the crew from Oakland were going to go out too for some of the games, so that was going to be a fantastic trip. Doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately, so that's a real disappointment. But we do have some things that we have been working on that we will be able to pick up now. You may have seen here on YouTube we've started to do a few more live streams, pre-game live streams during spring training, and I'm hopefully going to be able to pick those up quite regularly once games do finally get going. And we also finally, after probably over a year of talking about it, we finally started up our podcast during February. I did about, I think there were 5 episodes I did them on my own just to start things off. We were just about at the point where Hannah and Dom were going to start joining in, and then yes, there was lockdown, and it was just like, there's no point in just throwing podcasts out there for the sake of content and all of that nonsense. You only want to do that stuff, put the effort in and time in if you're actually doing something that you think is good and worth listening to. So we've postponed that, but we are right back on it. We've been having regular A's UK virtual pints every Sunday evening here in the UK, both with A's UK fans and also being joined by some fans out there in Oakland. We had a good night yesterday with a few of the guys from Oakland and a whole bunch of us from the UK. So we've been having talks around doing the podcast. We'll probably do it via a Zoom call and then record it, so that should be good. So fingers crossed we may even have the next podcast for you sometime in this coming week. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Do get in contact if you've got any ideas for kind of video features, podcast features. You can either do it on the comments below, message us on Twitter, or you now have a group email account set up, so that's oaklandauk@gmail.com. So do get in contact if you've got any ideas or you'd like to get involved. We're really excited that baseball hopefully is coming back fairly soon, and you know, it's going to be half a season, but we're going to put all of the effort we would have put into the full season into this half season to make it as enjoyable, as fun as possible. So don't forget to subscribe to all of our social media platforms, and I'll hopefully be able to talk to you very soon about some proper A's news with players coming back and doing a spring training, maybe hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. Thanks a lot for watching, and again, don't forget to subscribe to the Oakland A UK social media feeds for all of the latest news and views.
We're the Oakland A's UK.